Well, Behnam Taleblu is a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, which is a research institute. He's in Washington. Thanks very much for coming on the programme.
Pleasure, thank you.
So what do you think this all means then for relations between Iran and the West, and specifically the US?
Well, as was mentioned, Ebrahim Raisi is an ultra-hardliner. He's an agent of stasis, and in many ways, he's the ultimate proxy for Khamenei, who is the supreme leader, his revisionist and revolutionary vision. So if there was an escalation glide path, I think Raisi is likely going to continue that glide path. Again, the Iranian president doesn't set foreign and security policy, he implements it. And so this path, unfortunately, is one that does lead to tension, regardless of the potential for nuclear diplomacy.
OK, so tension regardless, but on the nuclear deal, where do you see things going?
Well, the U.S. has talked about trying to seek a deal with the Islamic Republic through the P5+1, the permanent 5 members of the UN Security Council in Germany, to resurrect the 2015 nuclear deal known as the JCPOA prior to Raisi taking office. They want to capitalize on the lame duck period of the outgoing Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. This may actually give Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei everything he wants. He can blame any issues with resurrecting the deal on the outgoing administration and then pin any of the dividends on the incoming hardliner, who he is personally closer to.
So you're sensing enthusiasm for the deal in Iran?
Not necessarily enthusiasm, but something to note is that hardliners who about 5-6 years ago critiqued the deal now talk about wanting to implement it more vigorously. Indeed, that's something Raisi said during the debates in televised presidential debates in the campaign cycle. So it's been a shift on their part. But one reason for the shift that I don't think the Biden administration has internalized is the sanctions pressure. It's the sanctions pressure that is bringing Iran to the table. Unfortunately, that sanctions pressure seems to be easing up based on the U.S. position in the region, the delisting of Iran's proxies in the region, and even removing sanctions off of 2 former Iranian oil executives.
So does that mean, therefore, that Trump's lack of enthusiasm in pulling out of the deal was actually correct?
Well, you know, the former U.S. President Trump, he left the deal, but in a very belated fashion. It took about 1.5 years for him to leave the deal. There was actually a fix the deal period for about 1.5 years with the U.S. and its European partners, including the U.K. But I think his approach was ultimately correct, because Iran does have a revolutionary foreign and security policy, and it's only seldom changed that policy. And when we look in the Islamic Republic's 41-year history, those periods of change are preceded by maximum pressure.
OK, and just finally, because we almost need to leave it there, but looking to the future, you mentioned there where the real seat of power lies in Iran, not with the president. What do you think this means for the future of the regime?
Well, in many ways, this selection of the president by Ali Khamenei is more about him and cementing his legacy than anything else. The Iranian supreme leader is in the 8th decade of his life, 3rd decade of his career, and 4th decade experiencing the Islamic Republic. And so picking someone like Raisi can ensure that the Islamic Republic remains on the trajectory that he has set for it long after he passed. Unless we forget, the Iranian president does have access to the bully pulpit and can influence things in a post-Khamenei Islamic Republic. It's likely going to be for the worse, though.
OK, Behnam Taleblu, we will leave it there. But thank you very much for coming on.